Welcome back to the Funny Show. I am your host, Mr. Funny, and today we are going to be doing a video about Activision. Now, I promised you guys I would do this video yesterday, so we're doing it now. First off, I just want to get out of the way. All three of these, all three of these videos were now the fourth one, in this video game company's franchise or not franchise. Why did I say that? Series. The first three is about Nintendo, then Sony, then Microsoft. And first off, those are all companies that mainly make, that also make game consoles. This is the first one that purely just makes games and not consoles, just games. So keep that in mind. I'm going to be talking more about games instead of consoles. The second is that in my Nintendo video, I mostly had good things to say about it. I did have some criticism, but mostly it was good. Sony, I don't think I had barely any criticism. I don't think I had any, so that's good for Sony. Microsoft, it was mostly criticism, but there were some good things. I did say that the Xbox 360 had some good strong points. But this one, I have nothing good to say about Activision. I really don't. So, take a grain of salt if you care about Activision for some reason. I don't, but just keep that in mind. I really have nothing good to say about them, so let's get started. I think the best place to start about Activision is probably their treatment besides Crash Bandicoot. Now, before Crash Bandicoot was bought out by Activision, he was doing pretty solid in the games department, but when they bought him out in 2008, it went very badly. You see, his game was released with some pretty bad reception, if I'm being honest. It was not received pretty well. Not many people liked it, so that's pretty bad. It wasn't received well. It really wasn't. And so Activision just thought, oh, if you don't like Crash Bandicoot, then you don't get Crash Bandicoot. So now all they give us for Crash Bandicoot is a Skylanders character. That's all they've done for us. I'm not even kidding. That's the only appearance he's made, and that's just sad. The Insane Trilogy, when that released last year, Activision got praise, and I praised them too, actually. I never played the game, but I hear it was good. But if I'm being honest, the game does not age well. Yes, the visuals were revamped. I'm not talking about the visuals. I'm talking about what I'm talking about is the difficulty spikes and the platforming. The actual platforming is not consistent. It really isn't. The platforming, it's hard to calculate where you're going to actually land, and it really is not easy to actually play the game. The game is hard sometimes, and it's freaking easy at sometimes. The controls are always one way or the other. It is not a consistent game, and that is a problem because the game has not aged well. But I will still give credit where credit is due, but they didn't even try and fix what Crash Bandicoot had problems with. That's probably for a different reason. But I think Activision's worst treatment is their treatment with Spyro the Dragon. Easily. Spyro the Dragon was another icon back in the 90s. He was a platformer just like Crash Bandicoot, and when Activision bought him out from Insomniac, they, instead of making another game like they did with Crash Bandicoot, they decided to take a different approach, if you could say so. And it wasn't a good approach, I'll just say that. It really wasn't. If you're a fan of Spyro the Dragon, then you'll know that they just replaced him and made a new series with his name in the title. That's basically all there was. He was not forefront in the game. He had no part at all, other than the fact that he was on the game case and his name was in the title. This series I'm of course talking about is Skylanders. This is an awful series if I'm being honest. Its sole purpose is to make money, and they've released a new game every year, except for this year and last year, except they ported over Imaginators to the Switch. But, that was awful. It was definitely getting old, but this is honestly not the worst thing Activision has done. And I'm going to get some hate for this one, but Call of Duty, man. Call of Duty, their treatment with the Call of Duty franchise has gone so far and so badly that it just makes me sad. It really does. Because Call of Duty used to be a war shooter about real stories that actually happened. And now we get this.
you alive.
Guess who's back? It ain't a fucking question. They know the name out when the questions of a living legend.
And this. And this.
This is something totally new. This is doing Battle Royale the Black Ops way.
Who's pre-ordering? Take my money, my $60 Activision. You deserve it. You microtransaction hungry company, you take my money.